Hello everyone, my name is Elizabeth Ann Nogues, and today I would like to inform sonographers, medical technologists, and physical therapists about the high amount of injuries and strains due to ultrasounds, and how new medical equipment could decrease the amount of strains and injuries in the medical field. Throughout this presentation, past attempts will be discussed and a new idea will be explained. This presentation will explain how movable computer equipment will decrease muscle firing in the human body. Musculoskeletal injuries have been a problem in the medical field for many years now. Carolyn Coffin, who has a background in sonography, stated that musculoskeletal injuries have been a problem for about 20 years now and are increasing with time. These musculoskeletal injuries are not in just one specific place in the human body, but multiple regions of the human body. The Healthcare Benefit Trust did a survey in 1997 and collected from over 1,000 sonographers practicing in the United States, with results that showed 84% experienced musculoskeletal pain related to scanning with the neck, shoulder, wrist, hands, fingers, and back as the most commonly affected sites. The results for this survey are shocking and show the need for something to be done. Many people have tried to reduce the muscle firing that leads to these strains and injuries by performing ultrasounds. One area that has a big impact on the human body would be the back region. This region of the body is affected in many ways while performing ultrasounds. Gil Harrison and Allison Harris talk about how the need to have the body overextended can increase the risk of WRMSD. Since the computer equipment is not easily to be moved, it may have to stay in position near the bed, even though the sonographer may have to perform an ultrasound on the opposite side of the body, causing an awkward posture for an overextended amount of time. Fred Decker states in his article, The Cons of a Career in Sonography, that when the human body is in an awkward amount of time, there is a risk for bursitis, tendinitis, pinched nerves, and a variety of other repetitive strains. The amount of strains and injuries that can be experienced should be taken seriously, and ways to reduce the risk of experiencing should be put into action. There has been a large amount of surveys and test studies performed to find out how the body reacts to certain positions and what it is about a certain position that may cause a certain muscle firing or inflammation to the human body. Cynthia, Kevin, and Renee talk about this in their article, how more than 60% of all newly reported occupational illnesses are associated with musculoskeletal disorders, according to the U.S. Department of Labor. Many medical technologists, experienced sonographers, and radiologists, along with doctors, have put time, effort, and money into figuring ways to make it easier on the human body to perform tasks such as ultrasounds with a decreased risk of muscle firing. Some of these attempts will be explained, as well as a new theory to what could help decrease these muscle strains and injuries. This new theory is that if the computer equipment was not just resized smaller, but made into a movable device that could move to any position, low or high, around the bed to where the sonographer would not experience as much awkward positions, would reduce the risk of muscle firing in the human body. There have been attempts to reduce muscle firing in the human body, and one of these attempts was by Carolyn Coffin, where she talks about the use of a vertical arm support device can cause significant reduction in muscle firing. Carolyn states how a study was done with 5 sonographers, ranging in height from 4'11" to 5'7", and ages ranging from 21 to 25, and the results were noticeable in how the use of the arm device reduced muscle firing. Though the results are impressive, Carolyn also states that a cushion must be placed under the elbow at a 30-degree hold to add further support. The cushion can take up space, and depending on where the ultrasound needs to be performed, it may be hard to find adequate room for the cushion to fit properly where needed. And here we have a picture of the arm support device that Carolyn designed. Another idea has been conducted as to where making the bed table to where it can be adjusted to fit the sonographer's preference would reduce muscle firing. Kumar, Poowanan, and Muhammad talk about this study in their article called Preventing WMSD Among Medical Sonographers, using digital human modeling, and evaluation study, and explain how a computer software called Jack can demonstrate the results of how an adjustable bed table can reduce muscle firing. Jack is a digitalized person that ranges in height and can demonstrate the muscle firing that is exposed when the table is performed on an uncomfortable height and when it is used in a preferred height. The results show that muscle firing was decreased. However, there is still use of the body having to perform some awkward positions because the person was having to stand in the same spot by the computer. There is a new idea that has not yet been tried, but has believed to reduce many awkward positions that a sonographer may experience due to having to be near where the computer is. This new idea consists of newer computer equipment that will be downsized and attached to a mobile device that can not only move around the bed in different areas, but if need to be lower than the bed or higher than the bed, and may be positioned to whatever is preferred by the sonographer performing the task. Eleanor Ransom states in her book called Injury Amongst Sonographers, The Cause of Musculoskeletal Injury Amongst Sonographers in the UK, states how many users of the ultrasound equipment identified the awkwardness of the machines as a factor they felt contributed to their injuries and strains. This information shows the impact the computer equipment has on sonographers and the need there is to downsize the equipment. There are some steps in making this new equipment come about. One of these steps is a medical technician will need to see how detachable attachments can be made for the ultrasound tables so that the smaller equipment can be attached to the lifter that may allow the equipment to be moved around as liked. There is also a need to have studies done by sonographers and radiologists on working ultrasound techs to see what heights the equipment will need to be to reach and adjust to multiple body types. After studies are conducted, the technician may then be able to find out how long of a lifter will be needed. The biggest and most difficult step is the last step, which will be for the computer technician to find a way for downsizing the computer and its equipment to fit the needs of a sonographer in any position around the table. This means that an adjustable keyboard will also be needed. This newer movable computer equipment will be feasible because it makes the ultrasound more convenient for the sonographer and the patient, causing less awkward positions they will have to endure. Legislation should be fine if the rooms made for ultrasounds are big enough. If the work environment is not up to date on big rooms, they will have to expand, but most places have already increased the room sizes for ultrasounds or are preparing for new construction to do so. This new equipment will not be cheap, but the results are there to come with the new equipment will be worth the amount of money needed. With what information has been presented, there are hopes that more doctors will want to participate in this invention, as well as physical therapists, medical scientists, doctors, and organizations designated towards the help and needs of sonography. There can be agreements made with organizations and societies that in exchange for donations, depending on the amount, there can be percentages given back out of the production of the new equipment. Newer computer equipment needs to be made for reducing muscle firing on the back of the human body. This new equipment will be adjustable and let sonographers perform ultrasounds in a more relaxed mind state that will be better for themselves and the patient. Strains and injuries in the sonography work field are gradually increasing. Many of these strains and injuries are causing many sonographers to have to take time off to treat their injuries, and many are also finding themselves having to retire early due to work-related injuries. This new equipment will not only reduce muscle firing, but have a long-term effect on the lifespan of sonographers in the medical field. The demand for more advanced movable equipment is higher than ever, and sonographers around the world will have a positive impact from using this new equipment. Thank you for taking your time out to listen to this presentation.